Hi, Robert. So I got your question about checkpoint 27. So that's really strange. I came in here to to investigate. So I'm going to click in as you into checkpoint 27 because I gave you a 50% after your third attempt, and then I unlocked another attempt for you. It should let you through. Okay. So interesting. It's like just making you take it again. Um, that's really weird. I don't know why it would do that. So maybe let's just go for it. What is the ratio for the sine of b? So sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So here's b. So I'm going to go opposite 12 over hypotenuse 13. So 12 over 13. What is the ratio for the cosine of c? So cosine is opposite over adjacent. Oh, wait. Sorry, I didn't read the first part. Angle A is a right angle, and the sine of c is 15 over 17. Okay, so sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite over hypotenuse. So this one's 15 and this one's 17. I'm just going to write that in really quick. So this one's 15, this one's 17. So we can find this other side right here using the Pythagorean theorem because we know that a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So if we call this one a over here, so we'll go a squared plus 15 squared equals 17 squared. So that would be a squared plus 225 equals, I don't know, 17 squared. Let me look that up or calculate it. 17 times 17, 289. Subtract 225 from both sides. I get 64. So a squared equals 64. Then I would take the square root of both sides. So I get a equals 8. So this side is 8. So now back to the original question. Cosine of c, cosine is opposite over adjacent. So 15 over 8. And the way I know all of these sine, cosine, and tangent, hopefully you remember this little acronym, I guess. It's called CA. Oh, actually, I realized I just did the cosine one wrong. Okay, so this is the acronym SOHCAHTOA. So this S stands for sine, is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So forget what I just said about cosine, by the way. I was confusing myself. So cosine right here is adjacent over hypotenuse. So the cosine of C is the adjacent one, the one that's touching it. So 8 over the hypotenuse of 17. Okay, I'm going to erase the red and keep that blue up there for the next couple problems. I wish I could erase that faster. All right, let's see if that's enough for us. Okay, use triangle ABC to write the value of the tangent of A. Okay, so tangent, we look over here at TOA. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So from A, the opposite is 28, and the adjacent is 45. Adjacent means touching. So 28 over 45. It does say simplest form. I forgot to check if any of these could be reduced. That one can't. Let's go back and check the other ones. 8 over 17, no, and 12 over 13. Okay, so none of those can be reduced. Next question. Which value is equivalent to the cosine of 15 degrees? Okay, so you can actually calculate these using like your scientific calculator. So if I do the cosine of 15, 15 cosine, I get like 0.96. Where's my pen? There we go. So I get that this is like approximately 0.96. If I do the sine of 85, I get 0.99. I'm just doing this right on my calculator. If I do the sine of 75, I get 0.96. So I'm thinking it's going to be this one, but let's just check the other ones. If I do the sine of 30, I get 0.5. And sine of 45, I get 0.7. So it's going to be this one right here. You can also use an online graphing calculator to find the sine, cosine, etc. Like Desmos is a great calculator. If you need help with that, happy to help you with that as well. Which value is equivalent to the sine of 42? Okay, so I'm going to figure out what the sine of 42 is. Just here, I'll use Desmos this time so I can show you in case you don't know how to use Desmos. Just desmos.com. Okay, so I'm going to have to move my little this around so I can get to the keyboard. And I have to move this. I have too many things on my screen. Okay, so over here there's functions. Oh, of course I moved right there. So here's sine, cosine, and tangent. So what were we trying to? Sine of 42. So I'm going to go sine and 42 and then hit enter. And so that's the sine of 42 right there. Okay, so and I'm going to see which ones might be equivalent to that. So I just did this on my own calculator and I got a totally different number than this. So I want to make sure I was using this calculator correctly. Sine of 42. I don't know if I needed to put degrees. I'm going to go with my own calculator right now. My calculator says 0. Oops. My pen. 0.66. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to figure out the cosine of 48 is 0.66. So likely it's going to be this one, but I'm going to check the other ones just in case. Cosine of 40 is 0.7 or 45.7. Cosine of 90 is 0. And the cosine of 3 is 0.99. So it's going to be that first one right there. And next. Okay, in the right triangle, angle A is the right angle. Measure of angle B is 44 and AC is 10. Okay, they already labeled all that stuff. They told us the sine, cosine, and tangent of 44. What is the measurement of BC? Okay, so we're trying to figure out this guy right here. So basically, we're trying to figure out here. Let me get my pen again. We're trying to figure out this. I'm just going to call it X right now. So we know this angle and we know the opposite side, and X is the hypotenuse side. So because we know the opposite and we're trying to find the hypotenuse, I'm going to use sine because sine is the one that has opposite and hypotenuse. So I'm going to use this information right here. So I know that the sine of 44 equals opposite over hypotenuse, so 10 over x. But they told us that the sine of 44 was 0.695. So right here, I'm going to write 0.695 equals 10 over x. Okay, to solve for x, first I have to multiply by x on both sides because x is in the denominator. So I get 0.695x equals 10. Now I can divide by 0.695. And let me do 10 divided by 0.695. I get 14.39. 14 point, I guess they only want it rounded to the one decimal place, so 14.4. 14.4. There's a lot of questions on this checkpoint. Okay, I'm going to try to erase some of this stuff again. My page is getting so messy. I wish there was a button that just like erased all. That would be helpful. All right, so another question similar to that one. So we know that this is a right triangle. We have 62, and we know that JK is 17. So let me erase this. And we want to find the measure of JL. So this one right here. So I'm going to call this guy X. So we have 62, and we're trying to find the adjacent side, and we know the hypotenuse. So we have adjacent and hypotenuse, so I'm going to use cosine. Okay, so cosine of 62. So cosine of 62 equals adjacent over hypotenuse, so that's x over 17. We know the cosine of 62 is 0.47 because they told us that, equals x over 17. So to solve for x, I could just multiply by 17. So 17 times 0.47 is 7.99. So rounded to one decimal place, 7.99 would be 8. Last question. Okay, it looks, again, similar to the ones that we were just doing. Get some of this out of here. All right, so we got this triangle. We know measure this angle is 16. We have this side is 7. And we are trying to find YZ. So YZ, I'm going to call it X. So from angle 16, we have the opposite and we have the adjacent. So that's going to be tangent. So I'm going to use this one right here, tangent of 16. So I know that the tangent of 16 equals opposite over adjacent. So the opposite is 7 and the adjacent is x. The tangent of 16 they gave us was 0.287 equals 7 over x. So I'm going to multiply by x on both sides. So I get 0.287x equals 7. Divide by 0.287. So I get x equals, so 7 divided by 0.287. I get 24.4. So 24.4. And I'm going to finish and submit. Okay, let's get some of this stuff out of here. Hopefully enough that we can see what we're doing here. All right. Oops, I gotta get back to the pen or the mouse. All right, so we got 100% on that attempt. I really don't know why. Oh, now it's saying that that was only your second attempt? Strange. I do not know why that checkpoint is being so weird to you because I know I added other attempts for you. Anyway, now you got 100%, so you should be able to move forward. Hopefully that helped. Let me know if you have any other questions about any of that stuff.